Good morning, everyone. Hope we're all fine today. I see we've got a real celebrity in the audience this morning. Good morning, Kevin, founder of Independence Live. How are you today? And thanks very much, Heather, for the kind contribution to the Food Bank Fund. As you know, folks, the channel does generate revenue, but we don't make a penny. It all goes out to charity. It all goes out to baby banks and food banks. And I have to say that as the information comes in, there are a few of you who make contributions directly to the bank account, which are extremely generous each month. Now, because you're making your contributions direct to the bank account, I will take it as read that you want to remain anonymous. But you know who you are, and I'd like to thank you very much. As well as everybody who contributes through the super chat and super thanks and super stickers. Thank you all. Right, where are we? Quick rundown, see who's in this morning. As I say, a real celebrity, the founder of Independence Live, Kevin's in. I see Reagan Leak's in. I see the other Mr. Milligan's in. I see Christina's in. Aki's. Our Sweden correspondent's in this morning. Good morning, Melanie. Who else we got? Andy Scott Bryan's in. Peter's in. John Bell's in. Good morning, John. Nice to see you amongst us again today. Rosie's in. Good morning, Sir Larry the Cat. How do? Alistair Kerr's in. Margaret Mackay's in. Jim Stevens in. C.L. Sutherland's in. I think we've got along with Scott's in. Eddie, good morning, Eddie. I suppose we've better be there somewhere as well. Heather, Stephen. Right, let's get back on the bottom. See who's in down there. Good morning, Doug. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Harry. Right, as you can probably see, my co-presenter is curled up on the table where he normally is. So let's get this one underway. It's Indy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is an absolutely gorgeous morning. Blue skies, 21 degrees. Highs predicted to get to 23 today by 3 o'clock this afternoon. The pollen count is high, and the main allergen once again is grass. So that's what it's like here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire at this point in time. If you want to know what the weather's like where you are, look out your own bloody window. Okie dokie. Right, first up this morning we have the Rancid, and as you know, we don't put the Rancid up. Alright, but it goes with Sandy wins a gross misconduct case. Trans row nurse queered. NHS boost for employee suspended after changing room dispute. This is a story for NHS Fife, where a trans doctor and a non-trans nurse were in the same space. It led to a disagreement. Things escalated, and because of the culture wars, all the rags picked up on it, because you never hear about bullying or things like that when it comes to employment tribunals. They're not normally in the papers. Why is this one such a big deal? Culture war. Divide and rule. Thank you, Freedom for Scotland. Wonder if Brian Leishman will change his mind now that Sir Keir Starmer has kicked him out of the Labour Party. We'll get there. We'll get there. We will get there. I promise you that. Right, the next one up is the Scotsman, and it's going on the same story. We'll put it up. We'll find it. There we go. And the Scotsman has NHS urged to settle out of hand tribunal. Well, I think that's a fair statement. And there will be a cost to the public purse. And the real people who will bear the cost of this one are the people in the NHS Fife Health Board area, because NHS Fife are going to be carrying her legal costs, their legal costs. They've already been paying her full wage while she's been on special leave, and there's got to be a compensation claim. So the real losers here aren't they a winner and a loser in this particular case, because there's no winner or loser in this particular case. They're both losers. She might be financially better off for a wee while, but the real loser are the people in the NHS Health Board area, because the Health Board's going to have less money to spend on its service because it's settling up a legal case. Alright, we'll take that then. I must be letting this in this morning. Right, next up we have the Herald. And what's the Herald got for us this morning? The Herald has NHS Scotland pulled staff trans policy at start of Sandy Peggy tribunal. Well, actually, technically speaking, they didn't pull the policy. They had something called a soft introduction phase for new guidelines for NHS Scotland, which then had to be scrapped after April 16 because of the Supreme Court ruling on the definition of a woman according to the 2010 Equalities Act. We've spoken about the 2010 Equalities Act and how it needs to be rewritten, or should be rewritten, because it only recognises two genders. But hey ho. So we'll get short of that. If I can find it. Where are we going next? Next up we've got a Daily Fail. Let's get the Daily Fail up. And it's running on the same story, folks. It's running on the exact same story. Relief for NHS worker after 18-month ordeal over gross misconduct claim. Now, the gross misconduct part of it was the counterclaim made by the trans doctor. Sandy Peggy claimed to be bullied, and the trans doctor claimed she was incompetent and had failed to attend to 4 patients. See, we don't normally hear about these things, folks. You see, the reason why we're hearing about this is divide and conquer. When people are together and come together, it might sound contrary coming from me, but on specific issues at a time, when people come together, there is power in the people. Something like that. But when you can sow division amongst the people, they're much easier to control. Much easier to control. Which wasn't where I expected to go with that one, but hello. Next up, we've got the only knuckle dragger's rag, the Express. Here we go. Now this one is as fucking mental as it gets, folks. Excuse my language there. But this is as mental as it gets. Health Board comes under spotlight as Sandy Peggy tribunal resumes. Well, it's her, she won. Sack NHS chiefs call as trans row nurse clear of misconduct. What a load of nonsense. NHS Fife is one of the better health boards in the UK. It's well run. You're not sacking for the chiefs or people on the board to be. Sorry, you shouldn't be called to sack people on the board. This is a human resources issue. Who's the head of human resources? If anybody's head's going to roll, then it should be the head of human resources at NHS Fife. Because apparently the advice legal advice in February was, we have to give trans people access to spaces for the gender they identify in. That didn't change to April. Interesting stuff. Not. But calling for the board, or the chiefs, as they like to call them, to be sacked when it's one of the better run health boards. Mental. But that's why this is a knuckle dragger's rag. Oh. Anybody with half a brain would know that the people who sit in the board have got nothing to do with this. This is a human resources issue. Anybody that understands how bigger operations work. Jesus. They want to get angry, folks. That rag needs shut down. It's dangerous. It's a rabble-rouser's rag. Right, now we'll get rid of the rabble-rouser's rag. We'll also get rid of most of these stories about the culture wars, thankfully. We're moving on. The Guardian. What's the Guardian got for us this morning? 4 MPs lose Labour whip as PM attempts to reassert grip on party. Sorry, Sir Keir. Kiddie Starver. I put this t-shirt on in honour of you this morning because it describes you. And I put this t-shirt on because of what the Muppet did yesterday. Do you know, if anything, his behaviour yesterday could see Corbyn's new party full of left-wing Labour MPs. And there was a poll out yesterday, believe it or not. They factored in Corbyn's party before it even exists into the one polling company. And apparently, Corbyn's already got 50% of Labour support on his side, as Blue Labour, tumbled down to only 15% of the polls, or 15 points, whatever way to put it. By the way, Reform's way out in front. And I mean way out in front. Double plus what Labour's polling. And the Tories are in front of the Labour Party. Well done, Sir Keir. I don't think he'll be around for very much longer. But instead of going on the attack on Farage, Starmer's went on the attack on Corbyn again. He'd be as well just walking up to Nigel and giving him the keys to the fucking door. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, as it's been pointed out, that only one Scottish Labour MP that I can see that has any morals, Brian Leishman, is one of the ones that have been kicked out of the Labour Party. Brian is raging with the Labour Party. He campaigned for the Labour Party in his constituency in good faith that what he was telling them was what the Labour Party were going to do. So he campaigned saying that his party would save Grangemouth. He campaigned saying his party would scrap the two-child cap. He campaigned saying that his party would compensate the WASPy women. He campaigned to say his party would sort out sub-postmaster mess. Once he was elected, he found out that no just that had he deceived his constituents, that he had himself had been deceived. And then he had further insult to injury. The Labour Party that told him they would save Grangemouth then went and saved Pratt's, a refinery in England. Let the one in Scotland go to the wall, save the one in England. I wonder how that poor man feels. And then I seen him yesterday, after the suspension, saying, oh, it's temporary, and I'm a Labour man through and through. Brian, really? You never need to look at yourself in the mirror, mate. You've been lied to consistently. Because you were lied to, you lied to your constituents. You're actually in Parliament on a false pretense. They then bugger you out again, and then throw you at the party, and you're still a still and Labour man through and through. I don't know, folks. Some people need to give their heads a wobble. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Which isn't like me. Right, let's take that down and move on. That wasn't where I meant to go with that one either. After the Guardian, I believe it's the Times next. No, it's the Sun. So we'll tell you which Sun's got. The Sun has, believe it or not, a political story on the front. For a change, it's normally entertainment or sport. Anyway, it's got airlift cover-up scandal. Afghan $1 billion blunder compensation. It's going to cost more than that, as you know. And then it goes on, the byline is kill list set for kill list set to get government payout. Well, let me fix that for the Sun. The government doesn't pay out fuck all. It's the taxpayer payout. It's another taxpayer payout for another government blunder. Westminster seems to be one blunder machine that costs money after money after money after money. Look at the two aircraft carriers that don't work. Can't go in water. One's in a lock, Sea Lock in Scotland, being cannibalised to keep the other one going. You couldn't make it up. Class action, you're right. Brian Leisman does seem to be a mug. But he's an honest mug. Right. So the kill list set to cost the taxpayer a lot of money. The Sun's saying $1 billion, that's nothing, that's never near it. You know. And the other thing about it is, the Taliban have promised to get everybody on that list, no matter where they are. They are going to have them condemned as traitors and guilty of treason, no matter where they are. And they say they're going to hunt them down and deliver the penalty. The penalty for treason in Afghanistan? Death. Okay. So, stoking about the streets of the UK at this point in time is 18,500 Talibani targets. Oh dear. Oh dear. Stephen, England's going to follow us and voting age to be reduced to 16. Quite right. If people can enter the workforce at 16, pay tax at 16, there should be no taxation without representation. None. Right. So that was the Sun. That's talking about a compensation scheme for the 100,000 people who are now wearing a big target on their backs. Lovely. Now let's move on. Next one up's at Times. What's the Times got for us this morning? Walkout by junior doctors led to deaths of 5 patients. Let me correct that fucking headline, shall we? Sir Kid Starver kills 5 more citizens because the walkout didn't need to happen. These people are not looking for a pay rise, they're looking for pay reparation. But of course, the Times thinks we're all fucking stupid. Main headline: Afghan leak intelligence was hidden from MPs. Anger at failure to inform Security Committee. Well, that's why they go to super injunction. Who go to super injunction? The military go to super injunction. The military, David, you say? Aye. And if the military decide they're not telling the government anything, that's the military's decision. The military don't answer to the fucking government. Does that rag know that we know the constitutional arrangement in England? The balance of power in England. The monarchy controls the military and the Commons controls the rest. Simple as that. So actually, the military decide they're not telling the politicians anything. They'll hold it if they want. You don't fucking answer to the Commons. You answer to big ears. So simple as that. The military decide that they're not telling the Security Committee something. No. The Security Committee's just going to have to fucking suck it up, buttercups. The military don't answer to the government. The military answer to the Crown. Wow. Wow. There's some bangers in the papers today. But there's some bangers in the papers every day. That's why we enjoy doing this. It's good for my blood pressure and all. After the Times, inevitably it's the Tory graph. I don't tell my the Tory graph down to the bloody Times. Oh. Let's have a look. Oh no, we've still got it. The Tory graph. Cabinet bid to halt Afghan airlift. Now that the present cabinet are aware of the situation, because let's face it, they're signing the checks. Now that the current cabinet are aware of the situation, apparently they want to leave 81,500 people in the hands of the Taliban to be consigned to death. That's what that fucking says. There are some right monsters in the Labour Party, as we have learned over the last 12 months. But those of us who already knew were warning people prior to this man being elected. But cabinet bid to halt Afghanistan airlift. They'll get 18,500 of 100,000 out. It would appear that this lot in the cabinet would like to condemn 81,500 people to death. Because when you translate this stuff, folks, this is people's lives we're talking about. People's lives. But to this lot, it's just a throwaway. I've just chuck it now. We've rescued a few, and the price is getting a bit high. Let the Taliban have the rest. You could not make this stuff fucking up. You really couldn't make this stuff up, folks. Shot that one. Think about that. When you translate that headline, they've decided that they're just going to abandon 81,500 people to death. Fuck's sake. You know, excuse me, folks, that wobbles my head a wee bit. I don't know about yous. fucking horrifies me. Horrifies me. Because these are not going to be quick pops in the heads for these people. They don't waste ammunition. They tie them to the back of fucking horses and camels and drag them across the fucking rocks. Sorry for being so graphic. Right, next up we'll get the eye. What's the eye got? Views blamed for UK inflation hike as NI rise hits food price. Now, folks, anybody who knows a wee bit about this stuff would have known that the employer who's now going to stomp up the employers who now have to stomp up an extra 25 billion for the Treasury a year, we're going to pass that on to the consumer. It's no fucking rocket science, which creeps up consumer prices, which shoves up inflation. We have some real incompetent idiots at the helm. It would appear that Rachel for the accounts didn't understand how it was going to feed through into the real economy, the marketplace that she relies on. This is another neoliberal nutter. Another trickle-down economics woman. The mind boggles, folks. I guess Rachel for the accounts isn't really an accountant. As I say, the mind boggles. And I mean that, the mind boggles. Next up, we'll get the National. The National's got a few interesting headlines here. First one is Richard Murphy. What happened when I went to talk to the BBC about their bias? And my question for Richard is, what bias? The right-wing bias? The pro-Israel bias? The anti-Scottish independence and SNP bias? What bias, Richard? It was a good guess. Yeah, that would be my question. What bias is it, Richard? Because the BBC's got a pocket full of bias. A pocket full. Plan to end Gaza genocide. 12 nations agree to take action against Israel. I've got a news flash for these 12 nations. Unless we're talking about military action against Israel, it will have zero fucking impact. Because as long as the big orange man baby keeps the US Treasury open to these people, the only thing that's going to stop them is military action. Although I do believe at the point we're speaking, Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition is in the process of falling apart. Apparently he's pissed off the Orthodox Jews, and two of his coalition partners were Orthodox Jewish parties. So this action for these 12 countries won't matter if Netanyahu can cling to power. And America keeps supporting them, and the UK keeps supporting them, and Germany keeps supporting them, and France keeps supporting them. Right, and the bottom one, suspended Labour Act against MPs. And folks, David and I will talk a wee bit more after and get into the ramifications of the way this man's behaving. But there has been some really stupid headlines today and some really poor headlines which needed to be translated into what they really are. Like the cabinet thinking about shutting down the Afghan scheme, abandoning 81,500 people to die. Or the junior doctors causing 5 deaths. No, they fucking didn't. Their employer, the government, caused them for not coming to sort out their pay reparation. Remember, it's not pay rises these people are looking for. They're looking for pay reparation. Right. That was the Herald. I'm going to go and grab the Metro. For some reason, it keeps disappearing on me. It only took me a second to get up. It's up. Right, let's get Metro. Should be that one. Yep. This one made me smile, folks. This one made me laugh. Epstein file U-turn sparks war of words. And the new Maxwell appeal bid as Trump flips. Okay. Now, according to the president, they've all fallen for a hoax, US president tells past fans. As Brit socialite family starts freedom call. I'll translate it for you. MAGA's pissed off and angry at the orange man baby dictator for not releasing files which he now claims don't exist. No Epstein files or no Epstein list. Then of course Maxwell's family and Maxwell herself is going to make a bid to get her freed. Because if there's no evidence of crime, then she hasn't committed any fucking crime. That one made me laugh, because this is one of Donny's own making. He promised to release these files, and when he found out he was fucking in them, he's now telling his base, who are way pissed off with him, on multiple grounds, that they were subject to a hoax. And that the Epstein thing wasn't real. Interesting, that one. So Epstein went to jail, died in jail, for something that doesn't exist. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for some crime that's never happened because there's no list and nothing ever, it doesn't exist. This one really made me laugh. It really made me laugh. So according to the big orange man baby stroke dictator, there isn't the Epstein story or Epstein file. Move on. Deary. Absolutely brilliant. And as you know, folks, when you see me fold this up, it means we're onto the Star. I bet you remember what's in the Star this morning, which is good. It means we both get a surprise together. Right, let's get the Star up, shall we? Where are you, Star? There you're there. Okay, the Star. This one's brilliant. Now I remember it. This one's absolutely brilliant, folks. Hold on to grow myself. Under fire, water firm chief says blame rain for leaks in a drought. Leaky bum time. Now this is brilliant. Apparently, all the bus pipes that are leaking billions of litres of water out a day in England, when it's wet or dry, the rain's to blame for that, and that's why there's going to be a drought in England. Nothing to do with the fact that they haven't fulfilled their mandates when they were sold the water companies, and that was to maintain and update the infrastructure. Now, what they've done down that road is pull all the money out in the form of dividends, let the infrastructure 40 fuck, fill the rivers with shite, and this would like you to believe there's nothing to do with them. It's the rain. What a brilliant way to end the day. I always say we get some nonsense in the newspapers, but there's some newspapers who want nonsense in. This one is actually the one. You know. You know, just think of the mental gymnastics you have to perform to get to this guy's position. You just could not make it up. But they do. But they do. But when you take the sum total of the headlines today, is that our society? Is that the society that we collectively live in? Must be time for independence, independence, independence. I'll steal it for you, Mr. Million. I'll steal it for you. And I'll tell you what, folks, 2016 is going to be a big year for us. 2026 is going to be a big year for us. You better get your fucking eyes on the prize. Because that's a shameful reflection on this island we are all stuck on. A shameful reflection of it. Oh, well, that's it for the day, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it informative. It was brilliant. Some of this stuff, I'm beginning to think at some point I might actually need some psychiatric care for having to put up with this stuff every morning. Wrong leaves on the track. Aye. Aye, Sir Larry, brilliant. Anyway, that's me away, folks. Be back at 4 o'clock with Herald Davey to talk about some of this stuff in depth and have a laugh at how really poor Rachel for accounts is doing, because we'll be talking about the Mansion House speech. And the reaction to that, folks, is that it's actually going to destroy jobs. The captains of industry don't like it. Ah, well. We'll end it there.